Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for attending. First of all, apologies for starting half an hour late, but due to various negotiations, we had to move the press conference to 1:30. I should introduce myself. I'm Luke McCarthy. I'm a member of the SERI board. We have in front of us the chair of the SERI board, Justice Zach Lacour. And of course, we have the director of SERI, Mzamo. Then we have Mzamo Bikabla. I've just been roped into this in the last second. So please introduce the other two speakers and I'll
Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you everyone for joining us, especially people who are in civil society, who are in our sector, fellow activists, and the media who joined us. So we have with us Brian Palo, who is the Secretary General of the South African Informal Traders Forum, and we have Madina Siabi, who is the Director of Communications in the City of Johannesburg. So he is here representing the City of Johannesburg.
Thanks very much, Mzamo. The order of the speakers is the following. Mzamo will speak first, and then we'll hand over to the chair of the board, Zach, and then we'll have the next two speakers after that, and then we'll take questions from the audience. Over to you, Mzamo.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you for being flexible. I appreciate having your board supported as well. So, on Friday, after discovering threats to ban on our office, the dissemination of pictures of our staff on social media, I engaged the board very swiftly to support us and to guide more in this very difficult moment. But the one thing that struck me this morning, preparing what I should say to you, is that on the 1st of August, I don't imagine that I would be here speaking about SERI or speaking about SERI staff. In South Africa, August is Women's Month, so we've been a month where we've been championing our work around supporting domestic workers. It's also Marikana Month, so we as an organization will be focused on the 10th anniversary of the Marikana massacre. But we are here because of threats that were made to SERI. But those threats are made for work that we've been doing since October 2013. Is it me? Oh, thank you. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. It's for work that we've been doing since October 2013. SERI has represented the South African Informal Traders Forum and African Traders Organization since October 2013. It has represented this specific client since October 2013. But most surprisingly, I'm more surprised that I'm here for the actions of a public official of the City of Johannesburg, an institution that we had a relationship with spanning over a decade. And in that time, we've engaged about informal traders, we've engaged about this specific traders multiple times. The last case that was brought, it involved the former headquarters of the ANC in informal trading around that road. And in that case, the City of Johannesburg collaborated with us in pushing back an attempt to remove traders in 2020. But today I'm here with the named by the member for the mayoral committee for economic development in the City of Johannesburg, Mr. Mbulelo. And these statements have kind of spelled a period starting from the 26th of July. But I want to provide some context so to understand what is this case, why is SERI being attacked, and what did SERI do? Because realistically, when these things happen, people raise questions around the legitimacy of our work, how ethical we've been. In fact, the basis of the complaint is that we have used no cause as a fact, that we are part of a syndicate. And they're saying this in a relation that spans, as I said, over 8 years. And really what happened is that on the 19th of July, at 4 a.m., JNPD officers started taking away informal traders in the De Villiers Street precinct. So for those who know Johannesburg, the precinct starts with no taxi ranges on Klein Street, and it ends on the western side and on the 6th Street, and then on the north side it's Dubuque Street itself, and then just a street away is Plain Street. And in that morning, JPD officers turned back informal traders, saying there's an operation, you can't trade. Understandably, the traders contacted Brian Palo, they contacted other organizers of the South Informal Traders Forum. They then put our attorneys, and our attorneys went on the ground to check what's going on. They found JPD officers, they found MC Mumbi on the ground, and his position was no one will trade. And our attorneys went back to the office. They went to get instructions, initially from Brian, consulted numerous informal traders, and they sent a letter of demand to the City of Johannesburg and said, but your actions contravene an incident issued by the District Court in 2013, on the 5th of December 2013. Was that order was meant to protect these very same traders. In fact, the actions of the week from the 19th to 25th were a bit of a deja vu. It's exactly what happened with Operation Clean Sweep. It was the same line that we haven't removed traders. We just want to verify them. If they verify themselves, then they're allowed to trade. In 2013, traders verified themselves by the packet box. By the time we launched litigation, 2,253 traders had been verified. But when they went back to the street, they were removed with violence by the JP. But I want, and in our engagements with the MMC and even in the media, we said we know that the position taken by the city is to eradicate informal trading. And I'm sure Mr. Siabi is here, he will deny that. The city has denied that to us in meetings with us. But I want to be able to show you what has happened in the course of these tweets and how SERI has been targeted. So once we launched the application on the 25th of July, we waited for an answer from the city. There was at least the intention to oppose the litigation, but never any answer on the merits, on why they're not in contact. But when we went to court on the 27th of July, the city's attorney came to court and said, they are just here on instructions. And the court said, look, I'm going to hear you at 2 o'clock. And I'm also worried that people have trade for 9 days. The city said, okay, we'll regroup, we'll get instructions from our clients, we'll come. Within a few minutes of our attorneys returning to the office, we had a letter from the City of Johannesburg. That letter said, we will allow your clients to return to trading by 2 p.m. that day. So the time that we've been arguing in court, the city was willing to offer us that our clients can start trading. They said the city intends to verify informal traders. They still don't know what the process will look like, but they would like to negotiate it with SERI in consultation. And we said to them, but now we're going to call it 2 o'clock. We need something finite, something specific. Because we don't want to be in a situation where we've agreed to a court order and there's fights about what that means. And also you must pay our costs because we've ran to court because you've broken the law. They take our costs. And beyond that, they agreed to let traders back, and there's a whole other agreement between us and the City of Johannesburg, between Citing and the City of Johannesburg. But a few hours later, MC Mumbi tweets, and he says, we've been served with a court interdict. They used locals to what appears to be a front to launch the application, which was successful in court. We are law-abiding and will conform. When you find the biggest invader tomorrow morning, no, we didn't. And it tags a press statement issued by SERI. In that press statement, the 2 lawyers who are working on the case, an attorney and a candidate attorney, have their personal cell phone numbers. Their tweet has been retweeted 280 times, the last time I checked. I don't know about the number. But I want you to know that we did not serve them with an interdict. The interdict was granted by the Common Court in December 2019. And we will not succeed against them in court because they didn't put up a defense. They approached us and proposed a settlement. And we don't use locals as a front for anything. And here I want to emphasize something. SERI has acted for this group since 2013. Within that grouping, there are migrants. Their names have been in lists that are over 9 years old. SERI acts for foreign migrants in cases that involve housing, that involves informal trade, that involves even policing. And we have done that because we believe in the universal enjoyment of human rights. We are not going to be cowed by people who think that migrants don't deserve protection. And so when the MMC says we use locals as a front, it's not only an offense to our strategy, but it's an offense to who and the principles that we hold dear. We act for everyone who is poor, who seeks our assistance, and we acted for migrants in this case. And when the MMC says the villages will be invaded, he forgets that on the 18th of July, all of our clients traded on Dubuque Street, on Clay Street, on Plain Street, on Joburg, on King George. In fact, I think possibly the explanation of the front is because the case was brought on behalf of 604 informal traders. And that's 604 informal traders. There were 7 trading blocks, which have people that are called block leaders. This is a process that the City of Johannesburg uses to manage informal trading. So in each area, there's someone who's called a block leader, who's the main contact between the city and informal traders. And in this case, there are 7 block leaders. Well, not just block leaders, but SERI is given in that title. They are block leaders recognized by the City of Johannesburg. And maybe the assumption is because those 7 block leaders are South African, then they are in front. But if the city had bothered, or if this MMC had bothered to read the court papers, he would know that we list all these kind of names. We list the South African Informal Traders Forum as an applicant. We are not in any way trying to push a fight. But this tweet, even though we know for a fact, is the reason why our attorney and the Canada attorney started receiving threatening phone calls, telling us about back off for us. Even though we know it's the reason why, in fact, people reply and responded, tag MMC, tag the City of Johannesburg, tag SERI, to say we must burn down their offices. This is not the words of what the MMC said. Because this very same MMC, the day before, has said, it's obvious we uncovered the real truth here for everyone to see. And those masquerading as Ubuntu sympathizers who are going to take us to court for enforcing our bylaws. Traders were afforded the opportunity to verify and return to work from day one, yet a majority opted not to. We note the reference to people masquerading as Ubuntu sympathizers is a reference to SERI. But he made an even worse tweet the next day, and he says, it has become apparent we are dealing with a syndicate with big vested interests. We've only just scratched the surface. And the question is, who is part of the syndicate? One claims are us sinners, and the MMC's response is, we can't say courts are part of the syndicate. We respect the courts. And maybe someone will say, well, it might be they're referring to your clients, they're referring to other people, but they're referring to your organization. But someone asks us, the MMC, and says, you need to ask Gaten McKenzie about what he's doing to address informal trade in the country. Bylaws are bylaws. Informal trading is informal trading. And the MMC responds, does Gaten McKenzie have NGOs with postal orders in the country? And responses to these tweets, responses in tweets protecting us, said, we'll burn down the office. Someone said, we will remind them the day we have our victory. And someone said, yes, we should remind their families too. And then the next response was, why should they live to see our victory? In that tweet, there's a tweet with a picture of every single SERI employee. Those of us who they could find on Twitter, they tag. In fact, there was a running commentary about why would you include their cleaner? Why would you include their receptionist? And the tweet had said, these are the snakes behind SERI. And I said these attacks are not made because SERI had even made a statement in its own name. We did what we do every day, which is litigate in the public interest. And we litigated here in this case. We have clients that have been informal traders and those informal traders. What has been scary for us is that our attorney has had a phone number circulated. Someone has circulated our address. There's been multiple threats to burn down our building. And there's been invitations that should anyone see our staff, they must follow them home and make sure they share that information, because it's very important information. Now, we know that as a sector, we face this kind of attacks. We've faced people, and it's very painful because it's mostly in relation to the issue of Afrophobia. People threatening us for the work that we do. But this threat does not emanate from the press release issued by SERI. It emanates from a statement made by a public official. In fact, from multiple statements made by public officials. And that is why, when we sent out this invitation by a press conference, a day before we invited any of you, we invited the mayor of the City of Johannesburg, we invited Action SA, and we invited MC Moon to come and defend himself, to come and explain his statements, to come and explain why he hasn't even, in one occasion, told people who are tweeting and responding to him that this behavior is not acceptable. And maybe we were fortunate because while Action SA declined the invitation, the City of Johannesburg is here. Mr. Siabe will respond and tell us what the City of Johannesburg says. We, in response to the invitation, the mayor of Johannesburg invited us to a meeting that Zach will speak to. But I want, in conclusion, right, to say of all the difficulties that we face as a sector, of all the difficulties that we face as a country, we cannot accept this type of behavior. We invited the City of Johannesburg to put their side of the story in court. They refused to do so. Instead, they said, but they came out in the public and scapegoated SERI and lied to the public. And that's what we want MMC to account. But I also know, as I said to some of you yesterday, that this behavior is becoming more and more common. Because it wasn't less than a month ago when a minister made similar statements. Statements that say we are the problem in this country as civil society. That it is us who's holding government back. And I want, in closing, to make this clear. When you close down the fruit and veg market that is led by one minister that is at most between Plain and Guerrilla Street or Willow Street, you don't only take away food off his table. In this country, many of the poor can only afford vegetables and fruits because they get excellent food and they food. When you close down what Musa, which is the Tiberias street market, what you do is not only shutting down that market, but you're shutting streams of income that go to people who sell second-hand winter coats, who sell second-hand goods, so that people can have clothes in this country. We are a country that's the most unequal in the world. And when you shut down the informal economy, you are essentially shutting down people's access to basic necessities. It is completely unacceptable to me that I must come here and defend service staff that who must be in a situation where in a threat to save people live, possibly acting to make sure those happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I should just say before Zach speaks, that in Drama informed us a few days ago about the threats that were made on Twitter by various people that we were extremely concerned. And I want to just indicate that we are extremely proud of the principal position that Nizam and other city staff have taken, not only representing the poorest in the city, informal traders in particular, but also taking a very firm stand against the home, and that we are firmly behind the principal position that Nizam and the city staff have taken. But we are of course very concerned. We see even over the weekend with the attacks in the Kruger store, how the vegan has kind of almost been marginalized, and xenophobic ideas have emerged as the dominant discourse in this Farmers indicated in this sort of month, this Women's Month, for women in SERI in particular. All the staff are doing that, but the women have been in the forefront. So we see this kind of multiplication of threats, attacks against women across society. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Zach to say a few words.
Thank you very much indeed. And I agree with the sentiment you expressed completely. And as Louis has said, we support our staff completely and absolutely, and I agree with everything that he said. I wanted to add that most of our staff are young lawyers. Young lawyers who could have been in the corporate sector today, and young researchers and young others who could have been making a lot more money in other sectors of the economy. And yet they are with us because they believe in the cause which we espouse. They believe in empowering poor people. They believe in the idea that everybody must make a living. And these are the kinds of lawyers that they are going for. We have increased security at our building, and that's been done. And I'll tell you about the meeting with the mayor in a minute. But the one thing I forgot to ask the mayor, and hopefully the mayor's representatives will take note after they hear your comments on it, that it may be an idea for the municipality to make some contribution to our security at the building, and at least take over the security there for about 2 weeks or so that they actually provide our people with some kind of protection as a result of what's happened. Our meeting with the mayor has been good. I would regard it as positive, and of course you will hear their statement. The mayor seemed to be quite unhappy about what had happened, and the statement, I'm sure, will confirm that she said to us that they will cause an investigation to be made. They must decide who really dropped the ball, and they must decide what step to take against them. And we understand this. We understand that even the people who have to be accused have their own constitutional rights and have their own labor rights and so on and so on. And it is necessary for the mayor's office to tread very, very warily in this matter. We've also, as I said, reported the matter to the police. The police are investigating. There are ways and means of, and I don't want to say much more about this, but there are ways and means of determining, particularly if hidden Twitter messages are sent without the necessary backup expertise, to determine without doubt the identity of the culprits. That process is along the way, and as soon as we have people identified, we will certainly take the necessary action. The city made it very clear this morning that their intention is to clean up the city. Now, clean up the city can mean two things. It can mean that you send people to clean up things that people drop and so on and so on. Or you send a vacuum cleaner that eats up human beings, and you clean up the city by getting rid of the informal traders. We don't agree that that level of cleaning up is important. We don't agree that law and order is a thing in itself, because the city is relying on law and order. We said to them that we do have our differences with them, and we made it very plain to them that as far as we are concerned, law and order is not a one-dimensional thing. In the end, you've got to create the conditions for law and order to properly exist. And the problem is that the municipality, it has to be conceded, has not been providing services, has not been doing things for poor people for years and years and years now, despite judgments of the court and so on and so on. And I think that you can't enforce law and order in isolation. And if the notion of cleaning up the city means more than carefully getting rid of criminal people in the area, making sure that the place is absolutely clean, making sure that you keep the place clean to ensure that everybody who is there keeps the places clean. If making the city clean involves any more than that level of cleaning up, if cleaning up implies destruction of human livelihoods, then as we implied in the conversation today, we will still be on opposite sides, but we agree that there can be differences of opinion. We're not using violence to sort out our differences of opinion. And that's our problem. It is the threat of violence that's the problem. We'll take them to court. They can take us to court as often as they wish. We don't have a trouble with that at all. And we have made it quite clear. And we want to say now to all our supporters, we have many, many supporters on the ground. And we want to urge each and every one of our supporters to act with absolute discipline and to ensure that violence is not met by violence. Threats of violence are not met by threats of violence, because this is a very, very important thing to do. The thing I've done, and if there's anything I've left out, I'm sure I can answer your questions, or Noor or somebody after you've heard the other two statements might supplement things a little. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Zach. Next speaker is Brian from the Informal Traders Association. Please, Chair.
Thanks a lot, Chair. Good evening to everybody. What I will start with is to say sorry to SERI for putting them into this position. They are in this position because of us. We approached them back then in 2013 because we liked the way they're doing their work. There are a lot of law clinics or law firms that they approached us back then in 2013, but we did our research. We decided to have SERI because we knew very well what we want, we would get it from SERI. Since then, our relationship, as Nomzamo said, it started. What he didn't tell you, back then in 2013, she was also a victim of the City of Johannesburg arrogance. She was arrested after we won our case against the city, the very day that we won that case. Now, I'm not here to speak about Mbundu and all that. One day, as he was invited, he decided not to come here. But when we met him as the new MMC for Economic Development, we thought finally we will get somewhere, because when he speaks very nicely, he can articulate. We thought it's someone who will follow the procedures, someone who will respect the laws of this country, until the day we met him on the street. Prior to his visit on the street, they went there as Action SA. I think they've got a program. Every Monday, they tour a certain area of the City of Johannesburg. So we saw them and I said to my members, no, it's politics, and we are not involved in politics. Our interest, it's simple to make sure that the poorest of the poor, they trade, they make sure that they feed their families without intimidation, and their rights must be respected. That's what we stand for. If you go to Nguli's tweets, you will see that I responded in most cases. to agree with Mrs. Nomzamo that whatever that he's doing it intentionally. Because he responded in one of the tweets, because I said, unfortunately our people are back on the street because we won a case against the city. Then he responded to that tweet to say actually it is a lie. It's a pity then, because our lawyers now, the office is closed. But we are not scared as informal traders. For all these vigilant groups that they think that because they can kill or they can do whatever, we will back up. No, we won't, because we are representing the poorest of the poor. Our members are the poorest of the poor in this country. They are very, very ignored. Actually, informal sector is very ignored. We know not everybody likes it. Maybe some of you in this house also, they don't see why it should exist. Hence, we noticed that Nguli is someone who likes tweeting. We went to check in his Twitter account. We saw that there is a 60 billion rand that is promised to the City of Johannesburg, specifically to his department, by the so-called investors. So, but then he must clean the city. I don't know how do you clean human beings. One day I think someone will explain it to me. There was Operation Clean Sweep back in 2013. It was also referring to cleaning people. I don't understand how do you clean human beings when they are simple trying to do activity that will make them to survive. Now Nguli, during the day of the court system, the Mundizova came into the videos. We were always updating our members what is happening, the procedures of the proceedings of the courts and stuff, so that they've been panicking a little bit. He came, he saw me, he approached me, he said, "Brian, why are you taking us to court?" I said, "It's simple because you are not following the procedures." We know at the end of the day the city can decide where our members can trade, but there's a procedure to do that. Especially when there's already spaces that were demarcated, lawfully so. There's this perception that people that are trading at Dividia Street are illegal non-South Africans. That is absolutely not true. Kululeko knows very well, because prior the operation, he had a list in his hand of about 200 members who happened to be our members, who happened to be trading in that street. He said he wants these people to be verified. Where did he get that list if then these people are trading there illegally? So the city got that list. The city knows about those informal traders. The city back in 2013, they asked us, they wanted to verify. We said, if you want to verify, go on the street. Don't disturb our members. We weren't going to be part and parcel of your verification. As long as our members are trading there. They went there back in 2013. They verified. They find out 100% of people that we're representing in that court list. Truly, they are paying rentals to the City of Johannesburg on a monthly basis. Now, Ngululeko told me on that day that he's going to make sure that that precinct is cleaned. There will be nobody who's going to trade there. There will be no street trading under his leadership. In 3 months' time, he told me, in 3 months' time, they will make sure that streets are strictly reserved for people to walk on. So let's forget about street trading in the City of Johannesburg. He always tells us when we meet him that he's from several countries around the world. He will mention mostly Nigeria. He will tell us about his experience in Nigeria. I don't know his action. Maybe one day we'll find out. Maybe I don't know what Nigerians did to him. But we don't represent non-South Africans. We represent informal traders. Not only in the City of Johannesburg, in the entire country. The last thing that I want to say, we will continue with this. We don't think it's a war against Kululeko or the City of Johannesburg. We are simply there to stand up for the rights of our members so that they can be treated with dignity that they never got for the rest of their life. You must know very well that we've got informal traders today because they did not have an opportunity to go to school because of our past. Now it's very disappointing when you see our fellow brothers doing something that we believe that it's worse than the apartheid government to our poor mamas. Kululeko then said to me, he's ready. I don't know whether he was talking about the city. He said he's ready to compensate those old mamas because I told him, you're actually, there are very mamas who wake up at 4 o'clock and prepare dough to prepare fat cakes in the morning. That day they didn't make an income. He said he's ready to pay for that day. He said he will only pay for that day. All these other days he's not. Why we did not, we told our members not to partake in so-called verification. Why we did that? It's simple, we don't want to be promoting unlawlessness. We want people, there are procedures. We're not saying the city mustn't do their work, but there are procedures. So we cannot. Kululeko, the last time we met with him, it was a 2nd, 3rd of June. He was updating about the policy that is debated. And then with their processes, we're making sure that that policy is not going to be misused for political gains. That policy, we participated in it. It's us who proposed that policy back in 2013 after we won the case against the City of Johannesburg. We said we want a written kind of a document that will make sure that we don't do this. It must be clear who should trade in just the City of Johannesburg, who should not trade, what is needed. Don't tell me about people that were born here. Don't tell me about people who were not born here. And then you simply want to punish those people because of their place of birth. So in conclusion, I think they're going to be shocked, including the mayor, because there is a claim of 2013 that we are taking them on. They must compensate those members. They never. Back in 2013, now Nkululeko promised that they will compensate these. The members that were affected by their action just last week. And we are not doing that because we are after any other thing, but we are making sure that politicians should account to the citizen. They are saying I'm fronting for foreign nationals. They're saying I'm getting brown envelopes. That's why I'm a sellout. They're saying I'm a sellout. I don't know who am I selling out. It's very unfortunate that the attorneys got threats. I meet these people on the ground. I remember this other day they were marching on the street. They were going with the police. They are accompanied by police. I saw members of SAPS telling my members to close their stores because Operation Dudula is marching. I said, no, my members are not going to close. They are trading here illegally, so you need to protect them. They said these people are marching, they've got what they call it a law, and the law allows them to do that. We are in a confused kind of a state, and it's very worrying because some of us, we're not doing what we are doing it because we have to protect what our forefathers and fathers fought for and died for, which is the democracy that we are living in today. Thanks a lot, Chair.
Thanks very much. I just wanted to make one point, and that is I firmly believe we shouldn't have to apologize as the representative of informal traders for your dignity and for being involved in economic activity for survival. From our point of view, informal traders are not to blame for where we are. Those who are in power and those who perpetrate perpetrate and threaten violence against women and against foreign nationals are the ones who will be blamed for where we are now. As Zach said in his introduction, Zach and Onsalo had a meeting with the mayor today, and the mayor undertook to send a representative of her office to the press conference, and I'll hand it over to you. I believe you are going to read a statement.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for affording the City of Johannesburg executive this.
A microphone, please, a bit far away from you.
Can you hear me better now?
No, further away from your mouth, not closer.
This morning, the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Paul Palazzi, met with representatives from the Socio-Economic Rights Institute to deliberate on the recent conduct of the Buyamthetho operation in the inner city and the subsequent utterances made by